Good morning. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. It is July 27th, 9:33 in the morning. Just a little bit late. A lot earlier than I was yesterday. Um, not Didn't have to chase the cat around this morning. However, I did get lost uh, in writing. I'm writing my last piece for my student handbook. Kind of came to me when I was explaining what the kanji meant to one of my students' parents. So, which I had written about it before, but I hadn't, uh, not in the form that I'm writing now. So it's actually pretty cool because the kanji, and I probably have told the story 100 times, um, maybe not 100, but anyway, for those people who haven't heard it yet, um, the kanji I use is if basically it means artists and martial arts when you look at it. The kanji I use to express artists and martial arts, or even as part of artisan or even hand worker, uh, um, in Japanese can be translated to shokunin, which has a much bigger meaning behind it. That shokunin is basically somebody who is striving for perfection for the welfare of the community. Um, and that they're not just a craftsman, they're not just an artist, they are somebody that does something to better their community. So, um, and that when I learned that, it was one of those things. It was just amazing. So I started using that kanji, and I had written, I don't know, I'd written some background of my journey of finding it, and I know I never really liked what I wrote, but it was there. So of course, I printed it on shirts and I wore it all around. On uh, I was with my wife and Mark Klein, and we were in downtown Portland. We had just finished. Um, they call it the Shanghai Tunnels, um, because there were, uh, well, you don't know, but the um, back in the day, there were people that were stolen, taken for slavery in downtown Portland, and basically taken through what they call the Shanghai tunnels. And essentially, it's basically just dirty basements of these buildings in downtown Portland. And they all kind of connect together when you really look at it. Going underneath the streets here and there. Um, uh, I actually received an email the other day talking about the Shanghai tunnels. Is that there's some new owners of some of the buildings downtown, and they walled off, and they don't want those connected. So the Shanghai people are like, "What? This is Portland history." So they were asking for money, so they could. But anyway, I just found that a lot of the basements, they looked like the basement of the house that I grew up in. So it was like, well, the foundation looked the same. The beams, like it was like, wow, this is we're walking through a dirty basement. That's pretty much what we're walking through. Um, anyway, because Mark likes to go on strange stuff like that. So anyway, so after we finished the Shanghai tunnels tour, we um, we find this little Japanese, or this little tea house, these Chinese tea house, because we were looking for some food, and it's called the Red Robe Cafe. They are no longer open. They actually almost survived COVID, but they did not necessarily survive downtown Portland. Anyway, so it's a great place. Some great tea, great food too. Um, anyway, so when we walk in, I'm wearing one of my shirts, and uh, the host, or the guy who greets us at the door, sat us. And it was a small place, so it's not like it was, we had to walk through. But he goes, oh, he says, you professional kung fu. And I was like, I was like, well, yeah, we are martial artists. He goes, no, 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 no. And he says, he points at the kanji and he says, you professional kung fu. Well, the kanji, shokunin, artisan, craftsman, shokunin being that professional. Basically, he was basically just translating it from Chinese into English as professional. And so, and then of course, martial arts, kung fu. And I just thought that was so cool. It was like, oh yeah, my stab in the dark to find a kanji that fit what I did. And really at the time I was going, I was going by handworker martial arts, the school, not necessarily artisan, but I was using shokunin as a translation for handworker. But anyway, so I'm, that's kind of where that kanji comes from. And so I was basically rewriting that. I was going to tell that story. And anyway, I got caught up in the writing of that and forgot about my tea. But anyway, so yeah, on this beautiful day, you can see kind of there's, minor clouds behind me. Hopefully it won't cloud over too much, because then it will be, then it's going to be damn hot at night. The clouds will just keep the heat in. But it's actually pretty good this morning. It's actually not, it's not as hot as it was yesterday at this same time. So that being said, I will probably actually get out and do what I've wanted to do and hand out my flyers to everybody in the complex, because yesterday, by the time I got to it, it was just too damn hot to do anything. So that was that was the long of why I'm late this morning, but not as super exciting as it was from yesterday of finding the cat outside. Now, it's funny because my wife did not open the sliding glass door this morning when she left. So when I got out here, I actually got out here early just, to work, because I like, working outside. That's why I have a laptop. But also to keep the screen door open so we could get cool air in the house and before it gets too hot. But also to police the cat, which twice already he has jumped on top of, because we have this baby gate. I don't know, here, so you can see the baby gate there. So Dojo will get on top of the baby gate and then get in between the screen and the baby gate and then get underneath the screen and leave. So, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Ninja Escape Artist Dojo. So this morning I'm sitting here just typing away, and I hear, and I look over, and he's standing on the front, and I basically push on the screen and I push him off. And then he kind of looked at me like, why did you do that? So then he did it again, I don't know, about 30 minutes later. I'm like, seriously? Really? So I don't know. I just don't know. So did not watch any Star Trek yesterday. I was focused on, I want to get some projects done and out of the way. Some of it I can do watching Star Trek, some of it I can't. One of them is, and I am almost finished, but I had shown this, Jiu-Jitsu combat tricks. I recently took all the pictures and added them. So I've actually been, because this is printed in 1904, it is it is considered public domain. So I can then actually print the book myself. There are still some rules I need to abide by for that, but for the most part, I can print it myself. In fact, you can actually go onto Amazon. There's already like 3 or 4 copies on there from different people. But as a business person wanting multiple streams of income, I was thinking it might not be a bad idea to have some public domain books that I've published that I can make money off of, because why not? And this jujitsu combat arts, and that's kind of where it started, where I was like, wow. So, it takes a little bit of time to put together. It hasn't been my main project. Because I'm also trying to do my Kyusho, my Kyusho info book. But this is one of those, I can get this done quick and to publish. I also, like this morning, I was writing the last piece to my parent-student handbook. And it was funny because I was told by a couple people, don't make one because nobody will read it. But but here's my thing is I'm going to have not just my student parent handbook in printed book form, which I'm going to use the Amazon for the publisher, because it presents a nice professional looking book. Not only that, but I'm also going to have, I'm also going to provide it in a PDF format online. So it's not like they can't, like, if I have information, it's like, oh, well, what's this? Yeah, I can verbally tell it to them, but it's like, well, you can also reference the student handbook. Like, hello. And it's gonna be free. It's only going to cost me like $2, $3 to make. So, $2 or $3 a student, that's nothing. Plus putting it in PDF format, putting it online. I know a lot of the students don't access the stuff online, but it's like, why not? I'll just offer it to them. So I want to finish that last piece, because I thought I had finished it and I put it all together, and I got a proof copy. And I really like how it's turning out, but I was like having a conversation with a parent the other day, and because I had put up my belt, my belt display, and on the belt display I have the kanji next to it, the Artisan Martial Arts kanji. And he was like, what does that mean? And so we got into this conversation of, the short meaning and then the longer story. And he just thought that was just so cool. So I was like, maybe this is a thing. So I was like, okay, I'll do something a little bit different and, do that. So anyway, so that's kind of, I was writing it so I can actually get it done. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'll probably spend a lot of today in the heat. I'm going to go after the heat wave starts, because I'm going to go at least hit some of the businesses and talk to some of the owners, give them the flyer. But which I plan to do like right after this. When I'm done here, I'm just going to get my truck, drive up to school, and then hit all the businesses, because I'd like to get all of them so I don't have to worry, and I can just say, yes, I got the information out there. I did send off an email to the woman who was like, oh, hey, I want to start martial arts. the one that came to the self-defense class, and she was all, I want to do it. I want to do it. I'll sign up right now, which I should have been able to be like, okay, here you go. This, just use this, sign up now. But I didn't. And I kind of kicking myself for not providing a way for them to do it right then and there, or for her to do it right then and there. So I've got an iPad. I've got a smaller iPad, but I have a bigger iPad that I might just start utilizing as my as that type of, almost like a kiosk. They can just sign up right there and not have to worry about it. They don't have to do it at home. They just put all in all their stuff and they're done. And if they have any questions, I'm there to help them. So cannot wait to get the copy of the Kyusho Encyclopedia. Yes, I once I finish this, I figure for at least an hour a day. If not, and I don't know if I want to dedicate my Sundays to it, but because Sunday is kind of my do nothing day. But Friday, I don't have, like, Friday I have a private at 2, and and the one student that I have for the online modular class, his partner was injured, so we're taking a break, but that's at 5. So I have like all of Friday that I can just sit at the school and then just focus on stuff. So Friday might be my my Kyusho day that I just sit at the school and work on stuff. Definitely want to do that for any walk-ins. If they leave and have to sign up, it will lower the chance that they will. Yes. So it's just one of those things. And I actually considered buying an iPad just for that, like finding an older iPad that still works, not using my new one. And it's not new. It's 2 years old, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years old. But see, I don't use it. That's the thing. My son wanted an iPad. He wanted to upgrade to the newest iPad. And so he was just going to trade his iPad in, and they were only going to give him $400 for it. So I was like, well, how about this? I will give you $400 for the iPad, and then you can take that. So essentially I got this 1-year-old iPad for $400 for my son. And he got a new iPad. But the whole reason I never really bought a new iPad is because I never really used it. I've got this. I've got my laptop. I've got my, I do have a desk. I have a couple desktops that have purposes. But I was like, well, I don't want to spend $1,000 on an iPad if I'm not going to use it. So I was like, well, I could help my son out, get an iPad for $400. It's, mostly updated, but I don't use the iPad as much as I thought I would. Now, I did have a first generation iPad. My stepfather bought it for me when, and actually it's kind of funny because I didn't want one initially because I was not necessarily an Apple person at the time. But I was kind of opposed to it because Apple was like, no, we're not going to take cash. Like, you can't, because there was some lady, I don't know where she was from, Alabama, something like that. Some little old lady saved up money, went into an Apple store and was like, I want to buy this awesome piece of technology. And Apple was like, no, we won't accept cash for this. And I get why they were doing it. It was basically for people buying, buying them and then in cash and then taking them to another country. They wanted to stop that. Well, they couldn't do it with a credit card. That same thing with a credit card, I don't know. But anyway, they had their reasons, and after learning a little bit more about it, I understood what they were going from. But here's this poor old lady who wants to buy an iPad. Let her buy an iPad. So I was kind of opposed to that. And then I got to play with an iPad, and I was like, this is amazing. So I saved some guy's life from I saved some guy from jumping off the parking structure at work, and Portland police were like, oh, you gave me a life-saving award along with a couple of their officers. And my stepfather was just like, that's so amazing that you did this and you were awarded for it. So he bought me this iPad. So I have a first generation iPad. I actually still have it. But I could not use that for what I needed for now. It's just too old. And then I think with the other iPads that we've had over time, we just traded those in. I do have an iPad mini that I use for purchases. So like, somebody comes in at seminars, we take, I have one of those, credit card readers. It's hooked up to it. So we do that, but it's not big enough, I think, for somebody to actually use to sign up. And I don't have it charged all the time. That's the other thing. So I don't know. It's so I don't know if I'm going to use my current iPad, or if I'm just going to find a cheap one on eBay or something like that and see if I can't finagle something like that. Or I'll just buy myself a brand new iPad and use the old one. But then again, I've already mentioned I don't really use the iPad, so it is what it is. It's this crazy circle. So anyway, what was I saying? So I'm just kind of like in this long stories. And in fact, it's so funny because when I was writing this thing for the meaning of the kanji, I wanted to actually put down like too long didn't read. Here's the too long didn't read version. But I was basically, but I, instead of using the term, or it was a TL semicolon DR, instead of using that, which I might jokingly just put in there, like, because I put in the short of it, or how do I phrase it? I go, oh, it doesn't even say in short. I just say, oh yeah, I do. It says in short, the kanji we wear on a uniform, the same kanji seen to the right, which is kind of where I plan to put it on the book, which is on the what is on the back of the book and can be found printed along with other school materials, can be translated to artists and martial arts. And then it goes, the longer version is much more interesting and has a deeper meaning. So yeah, that's kind of where I've gotten. But we'll see how far that goes. But anyway, I should be able to finish that today after going around talking to people, and then you have all of that. I've still got on my brain though, which might be dangerous. The Kyusho, the Kyusho Super Friends camp. The Super Kyusho Friends camp, or however we would put it. I kind of like the Kyusho Super Friends camp. From the chat yesterday, that's kind of been in the back of my mind, but I need to focus on the school. I need the school to be making money so I can be able to focus on that. Like if I can get, like there's there's step A and step B. But yeah, and also, you know, it's kind of funny because I've really enjoyed putting this book together from you know, the Jiu-Jitsu Combat Arts. Reading it, I mean, it's a great little book. I actually thought about doing I want to do like other books that are martial arts related, but like doing like my own version of oh shoot, my brain won't even think it. I mean, it's on the tip of my brain. Why isn't it coming to my brain? The Art of War. I've wanted, so, and even with this jujitsu book, they actually mention points that you can hit, but they don't actually mention it as pressure points. So I almost thought about a bigger project, because I've also got this other book project, this modular, this Kyusho, or this Naihanchi crimp book. But I thought that as something else I could do is I could do like a side by side, like you take what is presented there and then, you know, do like add pressure points to it. Or, and I don't know, I'm not really a jiu-jitsu person, so that might not be really, but I find it interesting. But the book has been pretty cool. So it's a good kind of technique book, history book, concepts, good principles. Yeah. So, but also it being open source, open source, public domain, like what other public domain books, like I said, The Art of War, would be one. I've also thought about doing doing an Art of War in the original Klingon. That has not been done, and I don't know why it hasn't been done, but I think that would be amazing because you could take, we could even do like, you know, a lot of these Art of War books, and Art of War is one of my favorite books. I have like probably 20 different translations. So, and I like this comment from Rob. Downside with creative ADD, brain goes in different directions regularly. Yeah, like it's crazy. So, but it's one of those where we've got, you could do like, here's the original Klingon, you know, you could do like, you could take the basics of the text and translate it to Klingon English, which isn't hard. I think there's a couple different online translation services out there that'll translate it to Klingon. But then you could also translate that using the Klingon characters. And so wouldn't it be cool to kind of have it like you're like, do it and it almost have it like a picture of stone, or a picture of a manuscript written in Klingon, and then here is the Klingon English version, and then here's the English version. Like it would be like this really in-depth book. I think that would be really, really fun to put out. So it wouldn't be just a okay, well here's a copy of The Art of War, but here's a Klingon copy. You know, I think that would be really, really fun to do. But it would be time consuming. It would definitely be a project, especially when you're not really fluent in Klingon. So that would be kind of hard, because some of the Klingon, like, some of the translation stuff, it's not going to translate it perfectly. So, because I even thought, I have this friend. He actually already did a like. His name's Ali Ben Masadu. He lives in Tanzania, and he and I have chatted back and forth. He's a math teacher. His primary language is French. English is not very good. But we've been chatting back and forth for the last couple of years. And of course, actually, it's been more than the last couple of years. But in the last year or so, we hadn't chatted at all. And I think about him from time to time. Like, for me, I like a dumbass. I don't reach out and be like, "Hey, dude, how you doing?" But we've shared martial arts information back and forth, and I almost had this thought, because his English sucks, that I would actually start translating. Say I would translate my my kata book, my decoding kata book, into French, so he could read it. But then, but why not translate it into Spanish too? So so that would be, that's another project that I could have, a French version, the Spanish version. And I could actually do the French version. The reason I thought French more than Spanish is because, which I don't know, I know very little of each of those languages, but the French one would be a little bit easier to do, I think, because both my daughter and my youngest son, two of my kids, actually have studied French. Ashton, or Lucas, has done what? He's done 2 years of college French, and Alexa's I think, is she doing a third year? She did 2 years of high school, and then she's actually doing college classes for high school next year, this upcoming year. But I don't know if French is one of those. But she loves the language, so that's something that, we could just drop text into a translator, and that she could go through and fix, or that the two of them could go through and fix, so it wouldn't, be too jumbled. And then I could also send it to him to say, "Hey, does this make sense?" So I think that would be an interesting project. So, but that's the thing, I have the school, and then there will be other things that we can, other things that will potentially bring in extra money. Because, what was it? Because I don't have the DVDs anymore. Q-Show Corner kind of is the source where I house a lot of my videos, but I was thinking, instead, not necessarily having like Q-Show Corner do it, but maybe even also offering that service on Artisan Martial Arts. So, but I'd like, instead of having multiple, I don't know, just too many websites to deal with when it comes to memberships and all that kind of stuff. So, but right now, like all my online material is through Q-Show Corner, but it's one of those where it's like, multiple streams, multiple avenues, multiple streams of revenue. So, books, videos, teaching, which I've solidified more on my little 1 hour class for tomorrow, which is funny, because I went through Dutch last night and dropped off a pizza for Lucas, because he was hungry. I'm a nice father like that. But I was telling him about, the the self-defense class that I'm teaching tomorrow, that the gal that was like, that I had taught a self-defense class and she was all up in it. And then one of the guys that he works with was like, oh, because and they all call me dad, like even at Providence, even working with some of these people that Ashton works with that are more his age, they call me dad. And of course, all the people that Lucas works with, Winston works with, they call me dad. So anyway, so this guy's like, he says, he was telling me about how you teach mixed martial arts. And I was like, well, I don't necessarily teach mixed martial arts. This is what I teach. And apparently guy did Taekwondo when he was younger and really wants to get back into the martial arts. And he's like, I will be there. I gave him my business card, put the address on it, because my business cards don't have my address on it. Because when I had the cards printed, I did not have the location. So I got to get new business cards with the address on it. But then he's like, I'll be there Thursday. So we will see if this gentleman shows up Thursday, because he's like, he could do Thursdays and Saturdays for training, Thursday evenings, Saturday mornings. So he's all about that. So I don't know. We will see. Like I said, I would have a bazillion students if everybody who said that they would sign up actually signed up. So it is what it is. All right. So let's see. I did say earlier I did not watch any Star Trek yesterday. Today's episodes are Chosen Realm and Proving Ground. I did watch those the other day. Rob he's actually already gotten up to what's it called? In a Mirror Darkly, which is like almost to the end of the series, which is crazy because look at this. It is Wednesday the 27th. We are almost done with this month. Okay. Tomorrow, Thursday. If we go 2 weeks, okay, 2 weeks plus tomorrow. So 2 weeks from today, add a day, will be the end of Enterprise. Like, that's how close we are to getting through Enterprise, because August 11th it'll be Demons, Terra Prime, and These Are the Voyages. And honestly, Terra Prime is truly the season finale. These Are the Voyages is one of the worst, or actually the worst finale ever. But I think, but it just amazes me. Like, in 2 weeks, we'll be done with the series. It is going that quickly. So, and then I'm 2 weeks away from going to San Francisco, like in 2 weeks, because Friday the 12th, that's when I'm going. So yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Yeah, pushing the end of season 4. Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing, Rob, you're injured. I don't know if you're still working, but you are injured. So you just, watching lots of Star Trek. And yeah, it is a horrible ending. Yeah, I'm just not a fan. Not a fan at all. However, when it comes, okay, so season 3, we get the name change of Enterprise. It is now Star Trek Enterprise, which I'm really surprised that Paramount didn't go back and re-edit the beginning where it actually says Star Trek Enterprise. It is the first 2 seasons are just Enterprise, and then season 3 and season 4 are Star Trek Enterprise. But then we get the same music, the same lyrics, but more of the upbeat. And I was trying to think, I personally like the music. Yes, it is a little bit different. The lyrics make sense for the series. I've mentioned that before, but I don't like the upbeat. Like, yes, this is going to be it's more upbeat and it's happier. And the other day I was thinking, I'm sure you guys have all seen Carlton on Fresh Prince, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and he's dancing. And so basically, season 3, we get the Carlton version of the Enterprise opening. So yeah. This is crazy. Okay. Just the desk job and nothing else. So yes, too much time on my hands. Yeah. So is what it is. But yeah. So we get the Carlton version of opening for the Enterprise, or for Enterprise. All right. So really, okay. Last time on Star Trek Enterprise, when we saw the crew, they were all about to die, and now the conclusion. Cue the preppy upbeat intro. Yes, because that's what they did. That's what they did between season 2 and season 3. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so no changes to the list. Actually, I should just do this. So no changes to the list. New Horizons. We'll get that probably tonight at some point, and but it truly airs tomorrow. Still looking forward to Prey. Super excited about Lower Decks. Yeah, so going into August, that'll be pretty good. September's going to be amazing. There were some other things that I was watching. Now, so the Lord of the Rings on Prime. I didn't read the article, but I saw an article just by the way that it was tagged that it's not looking up to what it's supposed to. Like people aren't excited about it, I guess. So there was where was it? So there is okay. Now, Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, same kind of lore. I sent this on to Rob. Somebody had posted, for a real experience, the D&D movie should just end somewhere in the middle, and everyone in the theater has to find a date and time when they can all get together again to finish it. So I think that's funny, because if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons, that's how it happens. Somebody has to go, and we end, and then we all go, okay, let's get back together on this day. And I know Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, kind of the same thing, but not. And so I might, again, ADD brain. So yeah. But there's other shows like I don't know about listing other stuff on here. Like right now, that shit was a regular happening in everyone's game. Oh, absolutely. Like here, I've put stuff on here that I'm interested in. But like, there's some stuff that I don't know if like how informational should this be? Like, like we have Wakanda Forever coming out in November. I really like the first movie. I am so not a like when we look at the MCU, like oh yeah, Sandman on Netflix, but we also get what's it called? I saw an article. So we know that Daredevil is coming to Disney Plus. The gal who plays Jessica Jones is supposed to be back as part of as like that side character that comes in to Daredevil. Robert Bernal, Berthal, or whatever pronounce his name, Punisher. He is reprising his role for Daredevil. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting those up. But really, when it comes to the MCU, like I really enjoyed the movie Iron Man. I never really read Iron Man. I never really read a lot of like X-Men or Avengers. I never those really weren't comics I read when I was younger. But the movie, like the Iron Man, was amazing, and I kicked myself for not seeing the theater. The first Ant-Man movie, amazing. I kicked myself for not watching in the theater. I have seen some of the I've seen some of the MCU movies in the theater. I've not seen some of them. I've seen some of it at home. The ones I've seen in the theater, I'm like, why did I see that in the theater? And some of the ones that I've seen at home, I'm like, why didn't I see that in the theater? But overall, I'm not really impressed. There have been some good ones and some bad ones. I'm just not overly impressed. However, I loved the first Black Panther, and I'm really, really looking forward to the second one coming out. I absolutely loved Daredevil, and I loved Punisher. I think those were some amazing Netflix shows, and I'm really excited that they're coming to Disney Plus, and that they're bringing back like the MCU has incorporated them. It's like we're going to use those same actors because it was. I mean, even though it was on Netflix was there, but Disney Plus didn't exist. So of course they're now that they have those back, they're going to use. I'm glad that they're using those same characters. Even in what was it? Was it in Spider-Man, or was it in the multiverse? It was one of them where you had Matt Murdock with the actor playing Matt Murdock. So anyway, so I'm super, super excited. Yeah, I'm super excited about those. So those will probably start making the list as soon as I, maybe sit down and do a little bit of research and find out times and dates and all that kind of shit. And I'm strangely excited about She-Hulk. Mainly because of the actress, not because of the storyline or that it's MCU or anything like that, but because it's the same chick that did Orphan Black, and she's an amazing actress, and why she hasn't won awards back and forth, I just don't know. So I'm really watching it for the actress, and I couldn't even tell you the actress's name because I don't remember, but let's see. So Rob's posted a bunch of stuff. Hype for the new Black Panther. Namora, Rory Williams. He's hyped. Yeah, it's just amazing. Daredevil will be great since everyone is back, and it's supposed to be a continuation of the Netflix series, not a reboot. See, that's good information. I like that. I would hope that they would do it that way. The Marvel Netflix show is what pushed Disney to get their own streaming market for the TV series. Last Spider-Man had Daredevil. Hawkeye TV series had Kingpin. Okay. So I never did see the Hawkeye TV series. Like Loki, I watched the first episode, didn't watch the rest. I enjoyed the first episode, but I didn't. Yeah. And yes, Orphan Black. Orphan Black was. I think it was a little bit better. For me, it was better than good. it was a great series. And the actress she's pretty hot too. So Hawkeye was good. Buddy of mine was one of the actors in it. Okay. Yeah, it's just one of those where like it's not that I was forced to watch it, but it was what was on and I didn't really want to do anything else, so I watched it. But Scarlet Witch, that kind of or WandaVision, that's what it was. God, that was just dumb. I think the best thing that came out of it was the line. Well, that's an oversimplification, but that's it. And it became a meme, and but yeah, I think that's the best thing that came out of that. So, but it is what it is. Probably why I haven't watched the other ones. But it also could be just time and energy. I want to focus on other things. Seminars coming up. There we go. Okay. A longtime martial arts friend of mine was an actress in WandaVision, and a stunt buddy doubled Paul Bettany. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's pretty cool. I still didn't like it. You say, "Oh, I was in WandaVision," and I'd be like, "I'm sorry. Did they pay you well?" Anyway, here's the class schedule. Not just classes for here, but classes for everywhere else. Is kind of coming up. I am looking forward to Jim's Friends in the Arts camp. And maybe sometime, I don't know, sometime in the future, it will be the Kyusho Friends Justice League, whatever. I know several people that have been in MCU projects, and my phone never rang once. Because you're broken. They don't want a broken stuntman. See how easily, the older you get, the easier you break. I love you, Rob. I love giving you shit. So anyway, if you can make it to if you're in the area of any of these, any of these, try and make it out. And then, but I'm cute. Yeah. I tell my, that was a different thing. I don't know. My brain's starting to turn to mush. We're getting on an hour and my tea's almost gone. So, and we got other people watching. I got 2 people on Facebook and 1 person on YouTube, and nobody's commented. But then again, like Emmett said yesterday, he was on his way home listening to it, I guess, in his car. So, of course, he's not going to comment because he's probably driving, which is good. But anyway, so that is, Harvey, you just getting off of shift? Are you waking up? Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you tuned in. I don't know where my brain just went. Sorry, my brain's dead. But yeah, good to hear from you, Harvey. So you also need to let me know your schedule. So no sleep yet. Just dropped John off at the airport. Oh, yes, that's right. It's getting to the end of the summer. He's got to go back to school. Well, it was good seeing John down here. John's a good kid. Hopefully, I'll get to see him in Jacksonville if I'm able to go. I don't want to wait too late on buying tickets because I know that they're just going to go up and up and up and up. But because gas prices are coming down, prices might drop, but I don't know. Can't guarantee it. And then let's see. But we do have to get together. You need to let me know what your schedule is so we can so I can come up and visit. Let's see. Q Show Super Friends DVD of the event must have the old animated style voiceover intro. Would do that for you for a free copy. Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, that horrible 80s, that horrible, early 80s, late 70s music and animation. Yeah. Look at it. Yeah, no, I see him. He's done that a couple times. So, all right. Well, before it gets too warm, because actually, so at this time yesterday, it was getting really, really warm. But it's only 75, which is actually not that bad. It's like almost feels like it's like probably 10 degrees cooler. Evening all, gas prices here in Europe are crazy high at the moment. Yeah, it's I don't know what to tell you. I actually follow this. I follow this guy on TikTok. I was going to say the TikTok, but my daughter isn't around, so it wouldn't annoy her because I love to say on the TikTok, and she's drives her nuts. Anyway, so he actually works in the oil industry, and he talks about why gas prices are high and why they're coming down and why they went up, and it's so funny because he had mentioned something about how Biden's energy policy is the same energy policy as Obama's, and somebody was like, oh, because somebody came back as saying that that he's in support of that, and he's really all he's doing is just giving facts. This is what's going on, but in response to that comment, it was really funny because he's like, no, I was just stating that as a fact. I didn't say it was a good energy policy. I was just saying that it's the same, which I thought was pretty funny. But then again, he wasn't a fan of Trump's energy policy either. So, but it's kind of interesting to, he works in the industry. He's considered an industry expert. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, his TikTok thing, but it's interesting. It's interesting listening to him. And it's interesting to get into arguments with people. And I don't really get into arguments with people. I will mention like, oh, hey, I follow this guy and it's really interesting. And he said, this is what's this like he had mentioned a month ago or so that gas prices would actually be $1 cheaper here in the United States if Biden wasn't sending oil out of country. Like if he just kept it in the country, we would be using that oil and it would be like gas would be $1 cheaper. And I mentioned that to somebody who is a major fan of Dan Bongino and some other stuff, and they just started arguing. And it's not just that. There's been a couple people who are like, no, he's wrong, and this is what it is, and this is blah, blah, blah. It's all, I'm like, okay. So I just keep my mouth shut. Yeah, like, okay, this is what it is. So anyway, there we go. So we're coming up on an hour. Before I get started on a whole new tangent and it gets too hot, I do have things I need to do today. So thank you all. See, and this is, of course, this is the time where everybody coming in because the views just I've got 6 people watching. I got 4 people on Facebook, 2 people on the YouTube, and only a couple people have commented, but that's okay. People come in and out all the time. But anyway, so for those of you who are watching, you can go back and watch the beginning. It's just been my morning chat with me and T. Let's see. Okay, it's nearly time to start walking here in Ireland. It's too expensive to drive with gas prices and auto insurance. I know I spend my days selling auto insurance. Yeah, I actually. So last year I bought a pickup truck, and I know I said I would leave, but in response to that, I agree. So my school is about 3 miles away from the house, roughly. Hey, Bobby. So my school's about 3, maybe 4 miles away from the house, roughly in that area. And I actually used to ride my bike to work, which I used to live 15 miles away from work. So, so I got my bike out, and I bought new brakes, because one of the reasons I stopped riding is because my brake pads were down to the metal for my bike, and the gear guide, I don't know what the hell you call it, but anyway, it broke. So sometimes changing gears, it would actually come off, and then I'd have to stop and put the chain back on the gear, and that was a pain in the ass. So anyway, so I got all this stuff so I could just start riding, because I bought this great truck. It's getting shitty gas mileage. It gets good gas mileage on the freeway if I drive it a certain way. But in town, since I filled up, I've only been doing in-town driving, and I checked my mileage per tank since I filled it up, and it's like 11 miles to the gallon. It's like, holy shit. So I did get my bike out so I can actually just start riding to work. I just put my laptop in my backpack. I just ride to work, and then after, I'll teach class or hang out, just because I don't really go anywhere. I go to the school, I do stuff at the school, I can write, I can do whatever. But then this week decided it's going to be 100 degrees, and so yeah, I might not ride today or this week. Might just start next week, because I can do 80 degrees. If it's going to be a high of 80, I can do that. But yeah, it's just, and I don't want to be super gross and sweaty when I hand out, go and talk to the local businesses and promote my stuff. So I mean, there are going to be times where I'm going to drive, but most of the time I figured I just ride my bike to school. And see this chubby face, even though I shaved and I cut my hair, I look a little bit skinnier. This shit's chubby. I've gained some meat in my face in the last year, and I need to get it. I need to thin it out. I also need to eat a little bit better. That also helps. I think my bank account just went into the red from your gas mileage. Yeah, but gas has gone down. I always get mine at Costco, at the local Costco. I think the highest it got for regular was $5.29 or $5.39? And when I filled up, it was $4.59? I think it was $4.59. I could be wrong. But it only cost me $66 to fill up my tank, which really it's a bigger tank, but I was pretty excited that it wasn't $80 and I filled up. Did I fill up? It was about a quarter tank. I was about a quarter tank when I filled up. So it wasn't too bad, but it is what it is. So anyway, I got to go. I got to get out and hit the cement before it gets too hot. So I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out, chatting with me. I will be back tomorrow morning at 9:30. I'm going to say 9:30-ish. But anyway, thank you for all hanging out. Love to y'all. And I will see you